You may have seen that the Mafia trilogy got announced a couple of days ago, and that inspired me to jump back into one of my favourite games of all time, Mafia 2, and continue from where I left off a few months ago. And if I'm being honest, now's the perfect time to upload Mafia 2 because of the Mafia trilogy. Searches for Mafia 2 will be up, so therefore this video will get boosted in views. I get more views, I get to play Mafia 2 again, and you guys get some bang average content. We're all winning here. If you haven't seen my other videos on this game, in which case, why not? I mean, it's not like you've got anything better to do. Oh, but you're a key worker who works for the NHS at a local hospital, saving lives every day. Pipe it, Sharon, alright? I clap for you at 8 PM every single Thursday. The least you can do for me is watch a few of my videos. In this game, you play as Vito Scaletta. Him and his best friend Joe have recently started doing a few small jobs for the Clemente crime family in Empire Bay. Vito only started doing this job to get $2,000 to pay off a debt that his mum and sister managed to accumulate while he was away in the war. Women and finances. It's a worse duo than the Chinese government and telling the truth. Vito and Joe had a meeting with Luca and Henry, two of the people who they report to for the Clemente family. Since returning from the war, Vito hasn't been too lucky with the ladies, but as we exited our apartment, it was almost like the Lord himself handed us some premarital pussy right up on a plate.
Fuck you, stupid broad! Get the hell back here! If you can't drive, you should stay home where you belong!
When you see a woman in danger, let me correct myself there. When you see an attractive woman in danger, the right thing to do is go over and help her. Now fellas, if you really want to impress a lady when you save her from an overly aggressive New Yorker who's clearly got some underlying issues, the key is to get laid out first. So when you show the courage, strength and determination to get back up and spin the geezer's chin, she will then statistically be more attracted to you than Bill Cosby is to unconscious women.
I owe you one. Do you want to come over to my place for a piece of pie? You'll like it, I promise. I gotta get going now. I'll see you around.
And there it was. Vito's just made a mess of his underwear because that's the closest thing he's come to intercourse in the last few years. Well, that is intercourse with consent, I mean, because Vito was in World War II, and we all know what went down there. The girl's twin then appears out of nowhere, but Vito doesn't have time for this threesome. We've got some business to take care of.
I'm wondering if yous are ready to take the next step. I'm talking about taking somebody out. Just because someone points his finger at him and tells you to do it.
So the next step in our Mafia journey was to take someone out. Now Vito was getting all hyped about taking this person out because he's thinking pizza, he's thinking pasta, but as the conversation progressed we realised that Luca meant take them out, as in killing them. I'll forever be cursed to take that saying in the wrong way. A girl once asked me to take her out and I said yeah, no worries, and performed a black belt level judo throw on her, but apparently she didn't want spinal reconstruction surgery, she just wanted to go to Five Guys. Like I have the money to be going to Five Guys anyway.
I ain't got that sort of money.
I'm not paying 13 quid.
No.
This guy has proved a bit of a problem for the Clemente family before, so we're going to go in with an MG42. And I mean, to a white guy from the UK, that seems like a little bit of overkill, but I guess in America, that's just school wear these days. So it was Vito's job to go and collect the MG42, whilst Joe and Henry got set up for the attack. We pick up the MG42 from a guy with an eye patch, so you know he's completely badass, or someone just come in his face too hard and damaged his eye socket. Eye patch guy then proceeds to talk Vito's ear off for the next 30 minutes, and I guess that's one thing that's great about being antisocial like me. Someone says hello, and I just start sprinting in the opposite direction, so I'm never caught in a situation like this. If we were pulled over by police, and they asked us what we're doing with such high power weaponry, all I'd need to say is, I'm going to a concert in Las Vegas, and I'm sure everything would be fine. So here we were then, set up in the building across from where the guy's business is run, waiting for him to pull up, and ready to gun him down. Now I'm not as smart as some people who think they know everything about the Mafia because they watched The Irishman once. But three dudes in suits just doing nothing but looking out the window for the last 2 hours at a building seems a little bit suspicious if you ask me. So it's no wonder that our target, the fat controller from Thomas the Tank Engine, was able to cop on pretty well and get inside the building before we had time to unload the MG42 on him. This mission is actually one of the most iconic ones on Mafia 2, and I'm sure if you were like me and had poverty in your childhood, you will remember it from the demo. My only impression of Mafia 2 for like 4 years was playing this demo over and over and over again until eventually one of my friends gave it to me for free. Well, technically it wasn't free, I had to give him a hand job for it, but I was once told that if there's a hand job involved, it's probably a good deal. I think they probably meant receiving one, but hey, take that and spin it however you want. The game that most people have memories of their parents never wanting them to walk in on while they're playing is GTA. But for me, it was Mafia 2. 11-year-old me couldn't get enough of those Playboy mags. And it's not even like I had the excuse of their virtual titties. No, they were real-life Hugh Hefner-approved bobs. So we made our way through the building, killing everyone in our path, not even using the MG42 that we bought earlier, so that was a waste of a few grand, until we eventually got to the Fat Controller himself.
Don Clemente sends his regards. Oh, fuck!
Fuck you, sorry you fuck.
And there we had it. The Fat Controller was dead, down on the floor, and unfortunately Henry nearly had one of his balls taken off by a bullet. I would imagine that getting your balls shot off does hurt quite a bit, but for good Christian boys like us here on this channel, it wouldn't really make a difference. It's not like we need them for anything. I mean, it would be kinda sad to be left with just basically a Sainsbury's carrier bag below your penis, but the Lord put them there on us with no intention of them ever being used. Vito drives Joe and Henry to El Greco's, a private doctor in the area, because obviously he can't go to hospital, as the first thing they'll ask him is, how did you get shot? But while Vito was driving, I couldn't help but notice that Joe put his arm around Henry and didn't say no homo, which in the 1940s is pretty homosexually suggestive. Being a bit worried about Henry and the time that we had left to get him to El Greco's, I tried to take a shortcut, but that goes about as well as that one time I saw a girl choking on some food. I'm just chilling in a restaurant eating some food, when I look to my left and notice a girl who can't seem to get her words out and keeps on stuttering. Obviously this is a sign of choking, so I burst straight over her and start performing the Heimlich maneuver, but it turns out she just had a severe stutter. Some sexual assault charges later, because apparently putting your penis in them doesn't help them when choking. Yeah right, tell that to my uncle. And we all agreed that it was just a big misunderstanding.
Our friend needs help, but he's gonna bleed to death.
Thanks, Doc.
Good God, Henry!
We owe you one.
Get him inside. Hello,
Wait, I got money for you. For the job. Take it.
You know this could have waited, but thanks.
And hey, thanks for everything.
I hope you'll be okay.
Yeah, me too.
With Henry paying Vito the money, he finally had the $2 grand that he needed to pay off the debt for his mum and sister. But just as life was looking like it was on a massive up for Vito, things took a turn for the worst.
Vito Scaletta,
Yeah? What's it to you?
you're under arrest for the illegal distribution of federal ration stamps. You're coming with us.
One of the gas station attendants ratted me out. The guy fingered me and they strung on Mama into telling him where I was staying. But they had no idea who I was working for, and I wasn't about to tell them.
Ratted out by one of the gas station employees, those stamps ended up coming back to bite us in the arse. Bit weird that Vito mentioned that one of them fingered him. I mean, it's not really necessary for the story. It's completely up to him what he does in his own time. But for his crimes, Vito ended up going down for 10 years. And it was time for the prison chapter, the part where this game takes a massive turn and gets really interesting. I think when Vito was being sentenced, they must have made a small error when deciding what prison he would go to, because by the looks of things, he has been sent to the duplicate testing facility rather than an actual penitentiary. This isn't even my white privilege speaking as well. Everyone just looks exactly the same. Mafia 2 being a game that's based in post-World War II 1940s, there's obviously a lot of references to the war in the game. Now I'm not saying this is one, but I feel like I know where this guy's moustache was inspired from. Hair all buzzed off and making it through the first night without a sore arsehole in the morning, Vito was looking good so far in prison. The only problem I could find with the prison so far was in Vito's cell. Whoever installed that shelf must have forgotten the spirit leveler. I work in property maintenance and I do understand that sometimes you forget equipment, and sometimes you just gotta use your eyes and do the best with what you got. And clearly the guy who installed the shelf has similar eyes to JFK post-assassination. Out in the yard, and Vito was left a note by Joe to try and find a man on the inside called Leo Galante who could help him out. While out in the yard looking for Galante, I came across this guy who just seemed to be warming up his wrists. So I know who I'm asking for a hand job later on. Just as we find Galante, none other than the Irish geezer who was at the jewelry store heist comes up and finds Vito and obviously wants a fight. So we give him what he wants and we have a fight, with neither of us really winning and both Vito and the Irish geezer getting chucked in the shoe. But luckily, we did catch the eyes of Leo Galante. Getting the attention of old people has always been one of my skills in life. I noticed ever since I was a young lad playing at the playground, old people just always like to look at me with their binoculars and follow me home. It turns out that Galante was actually impressed with the way that Vito fought, so he adopted him out the shoe and wanted to see if Vito was the real deal by putting him in various fights. A similar way that I would test my son if I ever adopted one. I take in my Vietnamese 5-year-old for the first time, and the way I test if I really want to keep them or not, I just point at a random stranger and tell him to go have a fight. If they get laid out, well then it's back on the plains of Vietnam for you, son, unfortunately. We have a little chat with Leo Galante about the Clemente crime family and tell him how Luca, the guy who we was having dinner with earlier, told Vito and Joe that they'd have to pay $5K to get into the family. But Leo telling us that this was all wrong and that you don't need to pay to get into the family really shifted Vito's views on the Clemente family and whether or not he wanted to work for them. It does sound like a bigger scam than that time when I saw outside of a hairdresser's it said cut and blow for £20, so I walked in there and all I did was cut my hair and blow dry it. The sign said blow and there wasn't a single drop of cocaine in the facility. Vito did his time in prison like a good boy, slowly gaining the trust of Leo Galante, getting into a few scraps for him to show him that he really wasn't afraid to put his neck out there, and protecting his asshole at all costs.
I like your scars, pretty boy.
Virgin for life. Things were reasonable for Vito until he got a letter from his sister about his sick mother.
Mama died while Francesco was visiting me. Instead of going toward a good doctor and a wedding gift, every penny I had went to the funeral.
Fresh out the shoe, with the death of his mother on his mind, it's fair to say that Vito wasn't in the best of moods. He then found out that the Irish geezer jumped one of Galante's boys, Pepe. Vito was now as angry as a Twitch mod when you tell them that their tier 3 sub to their favourite e-goal isn't going to get them any vagina anytime soon.
Hey, O'Neill. I got a little business to settle with you.
Shut the fuck up.
Vito had proved not only is he a complete badass, but he's also loyal to Leo Galante. So Galante took him under his wing. Vito promised to never work for Clemente again, and he also managed to get 4 years knocked off of his sentence, so he was released in 1951. Vito was a free man again in a big wide open world that had changed a lot. Clearly the 1950s Earth got a new colour correction layer because it is looking beautiful. If you guys do want to see more Mafia 2, then be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. It might even be the definitive edition because apparently that's getting released on the 19th of May. As always, just leave your comments telling me you want to see more of this or any other game suggestions that you may have. Join a Discord server, the link is in the description. Thank you guys so much, you are absolutely insane. The growth recently has been off the charts and I cannot thank you enough. I really do appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.